Welcome back to the channel. I'm BraveX0 and today we've got something crazy. If I have to make one true statement, it's going to be that Warlocks always have the advantage in PvE. And today's build proves it. So if you're a fan of unlimited grenades, unlimited melee ability, unlimited healing, crazy cooldowns on your super ability, and you enjoy setting the world on fire, aka you're a pyromaniac, then this is a build for you. Like always, you can find a dim link and timestamps down below in the description. But with that, let's get started with today's build. Today's build revolves around none other than the Dawnblade Warlock subclass. And yes, we're going to be rocking the Well of Radiance. Since we are trying to destroy as much PvE content as possible, the Well of Radiance is going to keep us alive in any endgame activity. Now we want to utilize Healing Rift and Burst Glide. That is standard on all Warlock subclasses. But when it comes to your melee ability, you have two choices, Celestial Fire or Incinerator Snap. For today's build, we want to hyper focus solely on one target, and Celestial Fire is going to do that for us. Moving into our grenade ability, there's only one option for today's build, and that's going to be the Solar Grenade. When it comes to choosing aspects, Touch of Flame is number one. This is going to enhance our Solar Grenade. It increases lingering duration and periodically emits blobs of lava around its perimeter. Yes, this is going to make us have a super solar grenade. As for our final aspect, you have two choices, Heat Rises or Icarus Dash. You can choose whichever, but I decided to go with Heat Rises. Since our build is going to revolve around our melee ability, when we activate Heat Rises, Final Blows while airborne increases the duration of Heat Rises and grants melee energy. Now, we're not going to use this aspect as often, but it's nice knowing that I have a little backup plan ready to go. Now, when it comes to choosing fragments, I had to make sure that our fragments synergized well with our exotic weapon of choice. And yes, our first fragment is going to be Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite. Up next, we have Ember of Mercy. When you revive an ally, you and other nearby allies gain restoration. Picking up a fire sprite grants restoration. Now, if you're new to Destiny 2, restoration. You regenerate health and shields over time. This cannot be interrupted by taking damage. So essentially, restoration will begin your healing process. And with Ember of Mercy, when you pick up that fire sprite, this is going to grant you restoration. Up next, we have our newly added fragment, Ember of Resolve. Solar Grenade Final Blows cure you. If you're new to Destiny 2, Cure. You are healed in a burst of mending solar light. Now for some clarification, restoration is a healing ability and cure is just a burst of health. And as you can tell, we're gonna have multiple ways to heal in-game. If we pick up a fire sprite, this will begin restoration. And when we get a solar grenade final kill, this will give us a burst of health, activating cure. Now our last fragment is Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. Now we have multiple ways to scorch targets, from our solar grenade to our melee ability, and yes, our exotic of choice, which is none other than the Prometheus Lens. With the launch of Lightfall, Prometheus Lens got a huge update. Not only does it have one of the best catalysts in the game, granting this weapon incandescent, but with every kill you get, your weapon automatically reloads. And if those two weren't the biggest selling points of this gun, this weapon now applies Scorch to enemy targets. Personally, Prometheus Lens is one of my favorite weapons to use in PvE. It's got so many things going for it, like the perk Flame Refraction. Kills with this weapon return a fraction of the ammo used to the magazine from reserves, extending the beam's duration. On top of that, you now have Incandescent, meaning you're gonna see all these enemies blow up when you have final blows against them. And now you apply Scorch to enemy targets. I hate to say it, but the Prometheus Lens just became the #1 gun for any solar build. Now, before we get into the mods for today's build, let's cover the exotic of choice. We're utilizing the Sunbracers. These come with the exotic perk Helium Spirals. Increases the duration of solar grenades. Solar melee kills grant unlimited solar grenade energy for a brief time. Now let's quickly cover the mods for today's build. For our helmet, we're utilizing two Ashes to Assets. Gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. Lastly, we added one special ammo finder mod. This is going to increase the drop chance of special ammo, which is going to benefit us for our Prometheus Lens. For our gauntlets, we're going to be utilizing 3 momentum transfer mods. Causing damage with a grenade reduces your melee cooldown. When it comes to utilizing the Sunbracers, we're going to get tons of grenade damage, which is going to immediately give us a faster cooldown for our melee ability, thus allowing us to double dip into this exotic. When we deal damage with our grenade, this charges our melee ability. When we get a melee final blow, this gives us unlimited grenades for a short period. Now moving into our chest piece, this one's very simple. We want to utilize one charged up mod. This is going to increase the maximum number of stacks of armor charges we can carry. On top of that, we're utilizing 2 solar reserves. Increases the amount of ammo you can carry for solar weapons. This is going to allow us to carry more Prometheus lens ammo, essentially allowing us to treat the Prometheus lens like a primary weapon. Moving into our leg armor, our first mod of choice is stacks on stacks. Picking up an orb of power grants 1 additional stack of armor charge. Moving over, we have invigoration. Reduces the melee cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. Lastly, we have solar scavenger. Solar weapons get bonus reserves when picking up ammo used by that weapon. AKA, the more green ammo we pick up, the more ammo we have for Prometheus lens. Moving into our Warlock bond, we have special finisher. Finishers generate special ammo for the whole team. Consumes 3 stacks of armor charge. Next, we have 2 outreach mods. Reduce melee cooldown when using your class ability. Now our last mod of choice actually is in our artifact, and that's going to be Solar Surge. Collecting a fire sprite gives you an armor charge. Now the gameplay loop for this build is extremely simple. When we get a melee kill, this is going to activate our Sunbracers, allowing us to throw as many grenades as we can for a short period. Each time we get a solar grenade final blow, this activates Ember of Resolve, giving us Cure. Let's not forget that our solar grenades scorch enemy targets, granting us melee energy and creates a fire sprite. This is all thanks to Ember of Searing. We're not only activating Ember of Searing, we're also activating Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you scorch targets. That's right, our solar grenade is activating Ember of Searing, Ember of Singeing, and if you get a kill, it activates Ember of Resolve. But what if I told you we're not done? If we pick up that fire sprite, we're activating Ember of Mercy, giving us restoration for 2 seconds. Not only did we get a bump of health with Ember of Resolve, but now we're activating restoration with Ember of Mercy. Let's not forget the mod Momentum Transfer. Causing damage with your grenade reduces your melee cooldown. Since we were able to throw a ton of grenades and dealing tons of damage, this is gonna give us a full melee charge. But what happens when we get a bunch of kills with our solar grenades? Well, we're activating Ashes to Assist. And as you can tell, our super energy is being filled up extremely quick. Now, what happens if we don't have a full melee charge ready to go? Well, that's okay. Since we activated Ember of Singeing, we should have a full class ability charge. Meaning when we activate that class ability, we're gonna activate our outreach mods, filling up our remaining melee ability. Now here's how we double dip into Ember of Searing and Ember of Singeing. Since we are utilizing the Prometheus lens and we're adding Scorch to our enemy targets, this will charge both Ember of Searing and Ember of Singeing. So if we're still lacking melee ability or our class ability, just getting a couple kills with the Prometheus lens will charge both of those abilities. Now what I can tell you is you're gonna enjoy using the Prometheus lens so much, you're probably gonna run out of ammo. But hey, remember our armor charges? They're not there for no reason. They're there so we can utilize Special Finisher. Finishers generate special ammo for the whole team. Yes, you're consuming 3 stacks of this, but you'll have more ammo for your Prometheus lens. And for those wondering what my stat breakdown was, I did not focus towards discipline and I did not focus towards my melee ability. I still focused at least a tier 7 for resilience and a tier 8 for recovery. The reason for that is because Prometheus lens was able to charge my melee ability and my class ability. And there you have it, one of the best builds for Lightfall at the moment. This Solar Warlock build not only covers you in the health department due to the crazy amount of healing we get with this build, but when it comes to dealing damage to enemies, this build is no stranger. But go out there and try this build for yourself. Let me know down in the comment section. Is this a build you're going to be taking into the day 1 raid? Thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, drop a like and share it with your friends. You have a good one, and I will see you in the next video.